Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you for tuning into another edition of Truthbuster News. It's October 5th, 2017. And I want to appreciate my gratitude once again for all those who've been tuning in, watching my videos on this tragic false flag attack that has happened. I thank you. I have seen and heard multiple reports confirming this very event being executed as a false flag. And I'm going to continue in onto that with more things to get you to become more of a critical thinker and to question the official narrative of events that play out, whether it happened here in the homeland of the U.S. or abroad in the world. I'm trying to give you the tools needed so that you can come up with your own decision, your own discernment. Now, don't take me at my word. Go and do the research for yourself. Don't believe a word that I say. All I'm saying is, hear what I have to say, and then go do your own research. It's simple. If you want to find out what is going on, do some research on it. I'm pretty sure a lot of you have, because a lot of things that I've seen with reports being put out, a lot of you have done your homework in the comment section saying, here's another twist, here is another piece of information that needs some looking into. And continuing on the path of this being a false flag, let's continue to focus on ground zero, if you will, of the event. Now, with a building size of that grandeur and stature, the windows that are installed are going to be able to withstand the elements, whether it be extreme heat, extreme cold, wind, rain. And so they are manufactured to withstand that. It's going to be extremely thick glass. And it's either going to be heat treated or coated with a lamination, so that if there ever comes a point where it does become damaged and its structural integrity causes it to come out of the frame that it's in, and when it falls off the building, there will be little impact and casualty to human life, because thousands of people every day walk near that resort in close proximity to the window if it were to fall out, right? So how is it that there are no shards of the glass window on the ground below? Since those windows were busted out from the 32nd floor, where's the pieces of glass? And I've also seen the reports where Stephen Paddock had checked in not on the date that the officials say in the narrative, but days prior. He checked in on the 23rd, not the 28th. And this goes back into the guidelines of being a false flag, because it took a lot of planning for this to be carried out. There has been reports that the guy had a camera system set up inside of his room and also the outside of his room to monitor traffic coming near his room. So, if he did that, where's the footage from those video cameras? That raises an interesting point. No one has shown the footage. There hasn't been footage released of the video on those cameras. And they keep on saying the guy acted alone. I've seen clips of the bizarre interview that his brother gave. And I am going to do a report on that in the near future. And a couple of people have already. But again, he checked in on the 23rd, as reports have came out within social media and on YouTube and other alternative media platforms. And there was also a guest with him in the room the night of the shooting. I seen the screenshot of the receipt that somebody who had worked at the Mandalay Bay posted to his Facebook, and then a short time thereafter removed the photo. But as soon as it was put out there, people started capturing the photo as evidence that he wasn't alone in that room. Stephen Paddock placed an order for room service, and so did guests too. But how did he get into the motel room, since he had all of this heavy artillery gear with him, ammunition, guns, the camera system? How did a guy of that age get that into the motel by himself? Because he did it. He wasn't alone. I seen a report earlier today where Brian Williams made a slip up and was talking in reference to the windows. And during his broadcast, he said that it's theorized that the gunman busted out the window. He quickly switched from government to gunman. And I hope a lot of people who watched that garbage heard him say that. And a little light bulb went off above their head. Ding! Wait a minute. Government? No, they wouldn't do that. have an article here from blacklistednews.com. How the Vegas police reveal how he may not have acted alone. Title goes as follows. Vegas police reveal 3 major facts admit government had help. He left a note and confirmed the mystery woman. Now, I've also heard the reports that he did leave a note, but it wasn't a suicide note. But the question is, who wrote the note? And why hasn't a graphologist, which is probably still under investigation, but hopefully soon a graphologist comes out and say that either yes, he wrote the note, or no, he didn't write the note. If that graphologist is manipulated by the government, they're going to say yes, he wrote the note. So whoever can get access to that note, which is going to be pretty impossible, but if there's somebody out there who can decipher through a screenshot and get a copy of this guy's handwriting, something he's written previously before, and compare the two to see if he actually wrote the note. But the article goes as follows, and it's written by Matt Algarist. Do you think this is well accomplished on his own? He had to have help at some point, says Sheriff Joseph Lombardo. As the online troll shut down anyone who questions the official narrative on the tragic shooting in Las Vegas, massive revelations from the lead investigators in the case have come out confirming what many suspected. In a press conference, Sheriff Joseph Lombardo of the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police mentioned that Stephen Paddock likely had an accomplice and helped authorities. Also admitted the killer left a note and stated they were looking for a woman seen with Paddock prior to the shooting. According to the most recent information released by police, they claim Paddock fully intended to get away with the shooting. However, they claim that the plan backfired and he instead left a note and killed himself. He was doing everything possible to see how he could escape at this point, Lombardo said. As TFTP had reported, Paddock, according to authorities, has set up multiple cameras all over the suite, both inside and out, including the peephole, and filmed the entire thing. After the photos were inside the suite were leaked online, one of them sent internet sleuths into a tizzy as it showed a pen and a paper on a table left under an object to make sure it was found. Authorities have since admitted the presence of the letter, but said it was not a suicide note in true untransparent fashion. However, they remain tight-lipped on the contents of that letter. Mass shooter reportedly asked, "Are those Republicans?" before shooting. As CTFP reported, many people described the presence of multiple shooters, including the man who stayed in the room directly next to Paddock's suite. TFTP has also questioned how it was possible to get hundreds of pounds of ammo and guns into the suite with no one seeing it, and on his own. Sheriff Lombardo mentioned possible answers to these questions. We know Paddock is a man who spent decades acquiring guns and ammo and living under a secret life, Lombardo said. Anything that would indicate this individual trigger point, which would cause him to inflict this harm, were not there yet. Investigators said something that may have happened to Paddock between October last year and September this year that compelled him to purchase more weapons, ultimately led to the massacre. According to the CNN, Paddock bought 33 firearms, mostly rifles, during that 13-month period, authorities said. Look at this. You look at the weapon obtaining the different amounts of tannerite available. Do you think this was all accomplished on its own face value? You got to make the assumption he had to have help at some point. And this is a quote from the sheriff. And as the article goes on, so indirectly, the sheriff is saying he had help. He didn't do it alone. But then again, I've seen reports where the police department has been ordered to keep their mouth shut about this case. And if this guy did, which he didn't act alone, that is a blatant fact. But if the mainstream wants to continue the narrative that this was some nutty fool, how come they haven't made a reach out to the staff of the Mandalay Bay? There's no one who called the front desk. There's no one who made phone calls from their rooms on that floor or below or any of the surrounding area to his room, calling it a loud bang, aka maybe possibly a gunshot fire. No one did. Maybe those rooms were vacant at the time, which is quite possible. But even then, it's not. It is a false flag because nothing is consistent. Nothing adds up. And you want to continue believing the mainstream bullshit of the shit of the things they put out there, so that you can't say this was conducted by the government. They want to keep you in that everything is good, drinking Kool-Aid, continue living in a la-la land, continue taking the blue pill in this matrix instead of taking the red pill. So we know the agenda of this shooting: gun control. How they want to push these gun bills to ban. I seen a story on the news. They're proposing to ban silencers and bump stocks, but that is complete bullshit because that's not what was any relation to this weapon being used. Not at all. So you have a silence from the entire staff that worked at the Mandalay Bay. They didn't report on hearing anything. I mean, is it possible that a law agency or a judge issued a gag order? You're damn right it's possible. If they don't want the truth to get out from the staff and to keep their silence, they will issue a gag order. Is there any confirmation on that yet? No, but I'm going to dig into it. And I will let you know. Because we're almost a week in, and not once have these staff members given their testimony of what happened on that night. Isn't that strange? Not a single person who works for the Mandalay Bay has said one word publicly. Zero. So here's two possible scenarios. Either A, they've been issued a gag order to keep their silence at all costs and given multiple threats from the deep state and higher ups and down the food chain, or two, they were in on it. Now, like I said, don't believe me. Do your own research. That's how people awaken, by doing the research on their own. And that's where it sits. And it sits on you to do the research, to put just a little bit of time. You go every day with your phone on your hip, in your hand or your pocket. And in between the hours of the day, you get some downtime. If you're at work, doing something that requires your attention, even when you're not, you get a little bit of downtime. So you pull your phone out, check your social media page, or you play games, or you communicate with your friends and family, phone conversation, text messages, what have you. But here's something to do in that downtime when you're not talking to nobody. Do a search. What's just a false flag? Do a search. How deep state controls America. Do a search. How the shadow government controls the deep state. And then you start seeing the breadcrumbs. And you pick one up. You take it, put it in your pocket. You study it. Then you find another, and another, and another, and another. But that's how it starts. It's on you to say, hey, this doesn't seem right. This doesn't seem normal. So I want to thank you for tuning in. I'll give you more updates as time goes. I appreciate your support on my channel, support on my work. Please share my work. Like, comment below at your own choosing, but at least comment. And if you want to get a hold of me directly, you can reach me at my email. truthbusternews@gmail.com. God bless and have a good night.